Chooch out here on the Kingsong S20. Now, if you're new to this whole thing, you're seeing this wheel for the first time. This right here is the first ever full suspension electric unicycle that is capable of really high speed off-road riding, guys. And the ones before this just did not have the power or the range, which is, battery watt hours, to really sustain a high speed of riding off-road. With an electric device like this, you got to think, this thing's under a lot of strain off-road, and to be able to perform like this, there has to be some performance going into this thing and some real thought. So this, in fact, is the most powerful electric unicycle ever made, and I'm going by voltage on this. And so most electric unicycles that you see even racing out here in the pro class are all 100 volt electric unicycles. And before this, guys, when I first got into this hobby, most of them were 67 volts, just kind of to give you all a picture of where we're at. And 67 volts, I mean, it was, for the time in like 2015, 16, and 17, that was plenty. Now we've kind of changed the dynamics, and late 2017, 2018, they started doing the 84 volts, and then they switched over and started making 100 volt wheels. And as soon as I got my first 100 volt wheel, I was hooked on the hobby, guys. That was whenever I first could go, over 43 miles an hour on an electric unicycle, and that was just mind-blowing. It simply was incredible and addictive is what it was. So now this wheel that Kingsong has released is the first one to ever be 126 volts. And I got on it, not really thinking that it was going to be too big of a deal, too much of a difference, and most people wouldn't notice the difference, honestly. If you get on this thing and you just ride it like a normal wheel and you're not extreme torquing it to where, essentially to where you saw a second ago, where I was pushing it riding off-road, and I literally was leaning all the way forward so far I kind of got a little hiccup in there and some beeps. And that's just me, riding this wheel and getting the full picture of it, dynamics of it, understanding how it feels, and really just kind of pushing it to the edge and seeing what can be done on it. And I just had all my weight forward and a little bit of, suspension in there, push down and then push me up. And it's just all getting used to it and seeing, how exactly I got to have my weight at those high speeds to get it all dialed in. But I'll tell you what, that little parameter trail is rough, and the sand is very, very, there's ruts everywhere, there's rocks, it's just unforgiving. And there's no other wheel that could even remotely pretty much ride through that, much less ride through it fast. And this thing just dominates it. It literally is just peeling through it like it was made for it. And this wheel performs great on-road, off-road, everything in between. It's going to be about $3,200. They say tentative price right now, to where you can put in your pre-order. If you can, make sure you pick one of the links below, guys, to put in your pre-order to purchase this wheel. I've provided some links below. I am an affiliate with those links, and at no extra cost to you, it'll give me a little kickback to cover gas money and traveling and everything that goes into paying for this hobby, which is expensive just to bring you these videos, just for the camera gear, gas expenses, all that stuff. And I'm cool with doing it. If y'all can just use those links to get your wheel, that's what keeps me afloat, dudes. But I don't ask for donations. I don't ask for you to send me PayPal. Just anytime you get a chance to get a wheel and you can use the link, click that link before you get the wheel, it literally helps me out enough to where I can keep doing this. And I greatly appreciate that if you could do it. Anyways, this wheel right now is available for pre-order from eWheels. It's available from pre-order from Rev Rides. It's available for pre-order pretty much from every single link below, guys. And the mass production of these wheels, guys, that is the full scale production of the S20 is going to be coming out in May. The ones you're seeing right now all over the internet are considered pre-releases. These are just prototype wheels, essentially. They're pretty much the final product. But these are considered prototype wheels that are coming out a little bit before they do the full-scale production, just so that they can figure out any hiccups, anything that needs to be refined on it, and make a few minor changes before they go into full-blown production. Now, you can expect your refined model, if you do pre-order this, to be coming out in May. Now, they're going to have a ton of these things coming out whenever they do. The thing is, guys, is the shipping containers are hard to get over here. I mean, as you know, with the whole supply chain and everything, I don't want to sound like one of the talking clowns in the circus right now, but as you know, that's just a problem right now. So the earlier you can get your pre-order in and get in one of those shipping containers that are coming in soon, the better, because the way these work, guys, is the pre-orders have to fill a full shipping container before that thing rolls out. So the sooner you can get your pre-order in, the definite sooner you're going to be getting your S20. And with a wheel like this, it's highly sought after. I think everybody that doesn't even really need an electric unicycle, that already has one that satisfies them, is going to be buying this. And I think a lot of people that aren't even in situations financially to buy it are going to try to find a way to get it, just because it's simply so cool. And I think that there's really been no other electric unicycle released in a long time with that type of situation going. I think in this hobby, even for myself, we've been satisfied with wheels. I know I've been completely satisfied with the wheels and the fleet that I have thus far. I can't complain. But after trying the suspension out, I'm not just saying this, like, I gotta have it. Like, literally, I miss this thing, dude. Like, if I had this wheel, I would be riding right now and not making this video, probably, just because it's so much fun. And there's no other wheel that has me out of the house right now in freezing cold, snowy weather out there, ripping around. And I probably would be out there riding this thing in the snow, shredding, having the time of my life if I did have the S20 right now at my house. I'm not kidding you. I mean, this, if you're into this hobby, you gotta have this wheel. Or either if you're waiting on the P-Code Master, you know, that's one thing. But I think this is just, as a Kingsong wheel, and the renowned Kingsong quality, I think this is just one that, I mean, everybody's gotta have. Even if you got this as a collector's item and just put it on the shelf and just kept it for your kids or something. We're like, yeah, this is what was out in like 2022. You know, whenever I was a kid, this was the new tech. I think this is just awesome. I really do. I think this is just a sweet product, even for someone that literally didn't ride it. I think this is just something cool to have to show the technology of the age. So, and I know that's pretty wild that you kind of mention or say, but it is, man. Like, seriously, this thing is cool. And if you're into electric rideables, scooters, skateboards, and you haven't tried one of these, and you can get this one as your first one ever, you are spoiled, man. You are the luckiest, and you are going to literally get this and be addicted to this hobby. Like, I'm not kidding you guys, because I got my first wheel ever went 7 miles an hour, and it would go 4 miles on a charge. And that was a total blast. I love just the whole ease of use, being able to get around the city, how compact it was, how I could just have it all the time within sight. I didn't need to lock it up outside and leave it. I literally just became addicted to the whole thing immediately with the Airwheel X3 back in 2015. And if I would have had this wheel as my first wheel ever, like, holy crap. I mean, guys, I would have thought that I had just solved, the answer to life. I literally would have been like, dude, this thing is the most fun, most amazing contraption I've ever found in my life, like straight up. Like I don't even, I can't even imagine what it would be like to get this as a first wheel. Like that is just crazy. I don't even know what would be going through my mind, guys. Like I literally, that is just phenomenal. That some people are getting into this hobby right now, and then this would be their first machine. That's just so different from the progression and the way that I had to go through wheels and whatnot. And you're going to be able to get this and just immediately look like you're 10 times better of a rider within the first 2 weeks. Once you get the hang of the basics of this thing, guys, you're really going to look like you know what you're doing and professional within no time, just because that suspension helps so much. It really does. Going downstairs, hitting drops, everything in between, especially if you're a heavier rider, it takes a lot of the strain off the components of the wheel, and I think it's a great design. We'll have to see over time how these things end up holding up, but I can tell you straight up, everything on it seems pretty daggum high quality. And I think for $3,200, I think it's definitely a reasonable price on this thing. I think you're getting what you pay for. And I definitely think if you don't have an electric unicycle, I think it's just going to blow your mind. I think if this is your first wheel, coming from scooters, skateboards, whatever it may be, you get on this thing, you're going to think that you literally found a hoverboard. Like this thing just floats, man. Like it literally just floats. This is like that magnetic hoverboard that Lexus tried to make. It just floats, and where you had to be on the specific skateboard part that was magnetic for it. If y'all remember that from years back, I think it was like 8 years ago when they made that. But this thing legit just feels like, I mean, you're floating along on air pretty much, just cruising, man. It's great. It literally is easier on your knees than skiing in powder. It's awesome. I'm telling you, it's sweet. But anyways, guys, check out the links below, and remember, it is absolutely no extra cost to you. You click those affiliate links to pre-order or purchase a wheel, and it helps you with pre-orders or purchases. Greatly appreciate it. Gas, getting out here,
I literally just said
driving
that. As soon as
was
I got done with it, I made a little video. I was like, if the tire
$400
wasn't
of
square,
gas.
you'd be able to rip this thing.
I appreciate you guys. Y'all use that link. It covers it all.
It's red. And look, it's not even full battery yet right now.
Thank y'all so much, and I'll see you dudes in the next one.
Low end torque?
The low end torque is funny for me because of my weight, though.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Once you get at the speed, though, it's power's there.
Yeah, Shibby said it didn't quite feel like an RS, like when you get on it right
Hey,
away.
if you're in the novice
Yeah,
speed,
but
get your gear on, let's
it's no
go!
slouch.